Welcome back, everyone. A new kind of playbook is helping the NFL reach its next generation of fans. Mike Schroder and his friend Michael Gold created Future Fans. It's a storybook and game combo that uses a simple beanbag toss to teach young kids the basics of football, including the 4-down system. Now it's being used by professional teams right here in the U.S. and athletes overseas. Joining me now is Mike Schroder, co-founder of Future Fans. Good morning.
Good morning, Hannah.
It's so good to see you. I'm happy. I'm just happy to talk about this because I know this puts smiles on so many faces. You say your daughter played an important role in the success. Tell me about that.
She did. So a few years ago, I'm a lifelong Bengals fan. They're making this unexpected run to the Super Bowl. These are life-changing games for me as a fan that I have never experienced before. However, I didn't have anybody to share it with. My wife was 36 weeks pregnant with our third kid at the time. I'm stuck at home. My oldest, Ella, 5 at the time, is like into the pageantry of it all. But the second these games came on, she was out of there, despite my best efforts to teach her about football since the time she was born. And so I kind of reflected and thought more about like, okay, this isn't her fault she doesn't understand football. Clearly, I'm doing a bad job teaching her. And how can we reimagine a way in which kids can make sense and understand football? And ultimately, my goal was for her to fall in love with it so that we could have that shared experience together.
Was that the breakthrough that made you think, I'm going to turn this into a game and a storybook?
Yeah, like, again, as you think about kids and the way I interact with my kids and telling them made up stories all the time, right, that captures their attention. And so starting to think about those ways and then unpacking, okay, you know, I could try to explain 4 downs to her. I've tried to explain 4 downs to her, usually during a game that never went well, you know. And so what could I create or invent that might help her understand? And that's ultimately what led us to one of the core concepts around this beanbag toss game called Circle Toss. Series of hoops, 4 beanbags. You stand in the first hoop. You've got 4 tries to throw 1 beanbag in the next hoop. You make it in, you advance, you get 4 more tries. You make it into the last hoop, you get 6 points, and you get to dance, right? That has nothing to do with football. So you play that game. The kid falls in love with the very simple but fun game, and then ultimately the storybook crosswalks that to football because that emulates the exact rules of downs and touchdowns being worth 6 points.
This is a great idea, but I have to ask, and it seems like a lot of fun, but how does a beanbag toss explain the complexity of 4 downs?
Yeah, simple, right? In football, you've got 4 tries to get it past the yellow line. When you do, you advance and you get 4 more tries. Same thing with the beanbags, right? And the beanbags are numbered, so it all makes it super easy for the kid to follow and understand. And kids as young as 4 can understand the concept when you introduce it in this way. And again, like, I didn't want to force my daughter into liking football.
Sure.
I just wanted her to understand what was going on. If she thought it was as cool as I did, awesome. That'd be something we'd be able to experience, hopefully over a lifetime together.
Also very cool. You mentioned you're a Bengals fan, and the Bengals were among the first to take this into schools. What does this partnership look like, Mike?
Yeah, for sure. So the Bengals, you know, talking to them about, hey, you guys had a role in kind of inspiring this brand. And they said, hey, we would love to, obviously we sell a consumer product, you know, is there a way we could adapt this to use in schools? And so we came up with a simple way in which it allows players to go into schools in Cincinnati, first grade classrooms. And what the Bengals love about it, they're like, this is so accessible, right? Like, we used to be throwing footballs at kids that can't catch and can't throw. Oftentimes the girls were a little less interested. You know, this is a really accessible way to engage kids. And oh, by the way, they learn about football through the process. Like, that's awesome. And so it has started with the Bengals and since expanded to a couple other teams in other sports as well. And then there's an NFL team, the Indianapolis Colts, also utilizing the way we teach to help educate fans over in Germany.
Wow, sounds like a win-win. What a great idea. Mike Schroder, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.